Oh boy, I just got home. I cannot wait to get on my favorite game, Destiny 2. Wait, new quest available. Fire the Watcher. It's supposed to be Ghost of the Deep this week. Wait, what's going on? Where's Ghost of the Deep? Surely they must have forgotten to turn the button on. It is 4 hours after reset. Where is Ghost of the Deep? Where is it supposed to be? Hold on now. No, this can't be right. The Spire of the Watcher is still in the sky. Surely Ghost of the Deep is going to unlock. What? Where's my Ghost of the... No, I gotta check the live stream. I gotta get a replay on where on earth my Ghost of the Deep is.
Spire is the featured dungeon, so there's going to be one of these 3 dungeons featured during each week of the event.
Well, that was a lie. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Moist Paragon here, and the Bungie situation is crazy. Now, not to tickle it a little bit and kick the $3.6 billion company while it's down, this isn't the first time that this has happened. No, I feel like I've been bent over and spit on. They definitely turned me around to tickle my booty cheeks. The leadership over at Bungie right there, they lied to us poor little gamers and said the dungeons would rotate weekly, and us as the entitled people that spent our hard-earned money and what limited time we have on this planet playing Destiny for the last 10 years, we expect things to happen when they say that they are going to happen, so we obviously feel entitled when we are lied to. All joking aside, as the time I'm recording this, 6:20 Eastern Standard Time, there's been no official statement from Bungie, from Destiny 2 team, from Bungie Help, from Destiny Help, from any of the lead or any of the tertiary social media members / managers of the Destiny community. Everybody is kind of very, very dark about this right now. It's complete studio silence over what I can only assume was a gross miscommunication, which I tend to give grace to people who make mistakes, so I'm just assuming that this was a very, very gross miscommunication, or it was something intentional just to farm people logging on the game. And what they actually meant was the event quests were rotating weekly, not rotating as in rotating in and out between each other, but rotating as in rotating one and then adding another and then adding another, which doesn't really fit the definition of rotation, but we do give grace where it is deserved. But I'm actually not going to give grace here because this is the second time in recent history that this has happened. Yes, many of you remember the Into the Light disaster. I say disaster, it wasn't really that big of a disaster, but it was still very frustrating for everybody involved that all of the Brave Armory weapons, which came with limited time holofoils, special shiny versions of them, were unfarmable at launch. They all were supposed to come through on a 2-week rotation until the very end of the event, where all of the weapons were available at the same time for, just pretty much 2 weeks until the DLC came around, which, I don't know if you know, 2 weeks for most people isn't a lot of time. Now, with the way the event is currently shaping up, and, considering the trajectory until the end of the season, it looks like they intended, right, at least internally, for the Spire the Watcher to be live for 3 weeks, then Ghost of the Deep to be live for 3 weeks, and then to finish it, Prophecy to be live for 3 weeks, giving everybody the ability to farm that one specific dungeon for 3 weeks at a time. As I was recording this, I saw Candy Cakes post something on Twitter, pretty much lining up what he thought, and I do agree with this is pretty much how I thought it was going to go. Where week 1 is going to be Spire the Watcher, week 2 Ghost of the Deep, and then week 3 Prophecy, and then it was going to rotate back again. Spire the Watcher, Ghost of the Deep, and Prophecy, and then I would have been under the impression that for week 7, 8, and 9, it would have been again Spire the Watcher, Ghost of the Deep, and Prophecy, and being week 10. All the dungeons are farmable at the same time, just in case you missed any of the previous 10 weeks or any of the, if you missed any of your previous 3 chances to farm the dungeon. Now, which gives you a shit ton of time to use the new guns before they pretty much all become irrelevant. I don't want to say irrelevant, before they all pretty much become a little bit less useful with the new introduction of the new weapon system. But this is pretty much how I thought it was going to work. But how it's shaping up now is approximately this screenshot. Only Spire the Watcher is going to be farmable for weeks 1, 2, and 3. And then I think Ghost of the Deep plus Spire the Watcher are going to be farmable for week 4, 5, and 6. And then for the final, week 7 until the Edge of Fate releases, Prophecy plus Ghost of the Deep plus Spire the Watcher are all going to be farmable, a la how they were intending to originally release the weapons for Into the Light. Because the Into the Light weapons, they didn't rotate out, they just rotated rotated in, right? They goddamn stutter, man. The Into the Light weapons just rotated in, and that's kind of how I'm figuring that in Bungie's mind they're going to do it right now. But like I said, we're still waiting on communication from Bungie. As of the time I'm still making this, there has been nothing, so we'll just wait and see for now. It's a bad gamer practice. It's not a bad business practice, which I can understand why Bungie's doing it. They're farming, in fact, essentially farming business and people coming in and logging into the game, playing the game. Maybe they'll stick around long enough to buy something in the store. So I can understand from purely a managerial level, director or higher up, like Pete Parsons level, why they would decide to once again extend the event that people want to play out for multiple weeks, because more eyes on the game, more people playing the game means more money spent in the shop. If people see a shiny, the shop rotates every week, they'll be incentivized to buy silver. So I can understand why they decided to do it like that. And this would have been acceptable. It wouldn't have been fine, but at least as a working adult, someone who has shit to do other than play Destiny 24/7, I could have lived with this. If not for the fact that we were explicitly told, and it was reinforced over multiple twids, the way this event was going to work. They consistently use the phrase rotating. Now, my friends, I don't know if you know what the phrase rotating means, or if we both have definitions of what the phrase rotating means, or if Bungie themselves have a different definition of what the term rotating means. But when something rotates, it's like a wheel. It spins and then it comes back around. It is a closed loop. It is 360 degrees. The wheel keeps on spinning. Something eventually comes back. When an event has a item that rotates in and out, but it doesn't come back, that's not a rotation. That's timed exclusivity. And now for Bungie to use the words in their developer streams as a rotating cast of dungeons, the 3 dungeons that this event is supposed to make up, that would imply, much like our regular rotator playlists, that over the course of the event, they are going to rotate once per week for 3 weeks. Now, rotating has its own problems as is. It's, again, FOMO. It is getting people on the game in a specific week. It kind of leads to server stability issues when more of the popular activities are available to play at once. See Vault of Glass this season. Whenever it becomes the rotator activity, the servers are marginally more unstable than they usually are, because it is the new shiny thing. But in this case, when we have 3 activities that are supposed to be rotating in and out with each other, and in fact, they are not rotating. They are timed exclusives to blocks of 3 weeks, never to come back again. It is a major problem. And to have no communication, I know Bungie's working right now. It's the West Coast. It's like 3 p.m. They're probably having an all-hands-on-deck meeting right now in their lounge area, figuring out, okay, well, what the hell do we tell people who are rightfully pissed that we misled them or intentionally used the wrong language? And it's not like they had no time to correct this, too. Spire the Watcher and Ride of the Nine have been out for a week. And at so many times they have interacted with the community. They were allegedly setting up creator events where specific dates were mentioned that these dungeons were going to be rotated with. They have had ample opportunity to correct or to kind of pump the brakes on the notion that these dungeons are not rotating. They are indeed going to be here for 3 weeks. And then the next one is going to be available for 3 weeks, and then the next one is going to be available to 3 weeks. However, Bungie refused to, I don't want to say they intentionally did it, because I am a huge fan of giving grace. And like I said, not to kick the $3.6 billion company while it's down, but they have had plenty of time to correct this. What is the point of having staff spending all day on social media if not to communicate what is going to happen with the event? What's the point of getting on? Like, most people today got on the game to play Ghost the Deep, right? They got on to play Ghost the Deep. Like me, I got home, I tried to play Ghost the Deep, I saw it wasn't available, I logged off to make my intro. That is exactly what I did.
and I can't play it now. And now I'm looking on Twitter. I'm looking at all the videos. I found the old clip from the Heresy Act 2 developer live stream where they were talking about the rotating casted dungeon, and it really is just an unexcusable way to launch an event, considering that the record at any point could have been corrected. And as I sit here finishing this video, it's been like 40 minutes since I started making it. There's been no communication, so hopefully before the end of the day, fingers crossed, they're going to say how the event is actually going to roll out, or if we are going to get one of the most legendary, I say legendary, but expected backsteps of all time, where they actually find a way to release the dungeon, where they give us Ghost of the Deep, and then they give us Prophecy and make them rotate. I don't know what the hell they would have to do to make it happen, but time gating these dungeons is a terrible idea. It's a really, really bad idea. We know how we know it's a bad idea because we already saw it was a bad idea with the weapons from Into the Light. Anyway, I'm not going to beat a dead horse forever. This is where I'm going to leave things off. If you did watch this video, I hope you enjoyed the Moist Critical bit, and please, dear God, don't copyright strike me. I promise I'm only stealing like 45 seconds of your video. I'll try to cut it down a little bit more, but if I get that copyright strike from Moist Critical, I'm going to be a teeny tiny little bit expected, but I'm not expecting to make any money off this anyway, so you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to steal most of his video. Anyway, guys, take it easy now. Treat each other and yourself well because you deserve it. I'm proud of you in particular. You did a great job today. You know, dealing with the stress of your regular life and then having to come home and not being able to play your favorite dungeon Goes the Deep. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time.